in this episode, I'm going to be talking about extracurriculars at UC Berkeley. And what I mean by extracurriculars is all of the activities that you do outside of class time that enrich your student experience here. So from recreational sports to joining student organizations or getting involved in community service. We hope that you'll get involved as a student here at UC Berkeley. So there's a lot of ways that you can choose to spend your time as a student here at Berkeley. And you can definitely expect to be spending a fair amount of time on your academics, doing readings and course assignments and working on group projects. And you might also be thinking about working on campus as well. If you aren't already thinking about it, I'd encourage you to start thinking about 1 to 2 interests that you might be interested in pursuing in your sort of extra time beyond your academics. If you're interested in joining a student-run organization, there are more than 1,000 of them here. So there's something for everyone. And if it doesn't exist already, then you could think about starting your own student organization. For more information about that, you should check out the Lead Center. When you visit the Lead Center's website, there you can find a list of all of the registered student organizations, and you can sort through them by category of interest. The Lead Center also runs leadership programs on campus and can also provide you with guidance on starting your own student-run organization. You can also get involved through public service. So the Public Service Center on campus partners with more than 250 community organizations across the Bay Area. So from tutoring and mentorship to spring break service trips across the U.S., there's a lot of really cool ways to get involved with community service through that office. To learn a little bit more about extracurriculars, I recently met with Ramya. She's a rising junior at UC Berkeley and found her niche on campus through public service. So check it out.
So in terms of the hours that I spend on campus, I would say it's usually between 8 to 10 hours, depending on the day. Classes usually go on for about 4 or 5 hours, and then there's always just a couple of hours where I'm either getting lunch or just like doing some reading in between classes. And then there's always a couple of hours for extracurriculars, whether it's tabling for a club that I'm in or going to a club meeting. So if I had to compare my schedule to that of my peers, I would say it's a pretty average schedule overall. There are people who are way busier with much crazier lives who put in hours and hours of work and are always busy. And then there are people who are also maybe not as involved in extracurriculars as I am. So I try to have a good balance of having some downtime, but at the same time making the most of all the opportunities that are there. The Berkeley Project is this community service club that I'm involved in, and basically we have an organizational committee that goes about to plan this event called Berkeley Project Day, where we gather about 1,000 volunteers who are students, professors, residents of Berkeley, who all come together and go around different sites and try to give back to the community by putting in a day's worth of community service. I didn't have any set plans about what kind of extracurricular activities I wanted to be involved in, but one thing I saw advertised on the Facebook page for new students was this club called PTPS, which is basically an initiative where they send out volunteers to give SAT lessons to kids in high schools who can't otherwise afford them. So I knew right away that was something I wanted to be involved in. And although I didn't stay with it very long, being part of one service club is always kind of a stepping stone to get into other such activities. So from there on, I could go into other service clubs like the Berkeley Project or Alpha Phi Omega, or just other opportunities for volunteering in around the Bay Area. In terms of time commitments for my extracurriculars, I would say each one requires about 1 or 2 hours a week, which doesn't seem like much, but when you're part of a lot of things, it tends to add up. So it is a pretty heavy commitment, but that makes it all the more rewarding. There are always events like Calapalooza or just walking through Sproul, where clubs are always tabling or hosting info sessions. So I just kind of went around and went to a whole different bunch of info sessions, applied to the ones I liked, and then joined the ones that I was accepted into. Often, once you join one club, you can learn more about other clubs in the same area, or you can meet people who can direct you to other things you can be a part of. So it's really a stepping stone in that sense. One of the things that took me a while to figure out was where to seek out clubs or where to look for extracurricular opportunities, and because there's not really one clear answer to that. It really depends. Sometimes, clubs will advertise to you and you can go to their info session. Sometimes they don't, and you have to really find something that best fits you. And sometimes, it's not very clear how to go about it. You really have to find your own way and figure it out. I think that way it can be kind of hard, and it can take some time to really find a club or an activity that's the best fit for you, just because there are so many ways to go about it. If you're a new student who's just coming in, I think it's always best to give yourself time to really settle in and get into the hang of things, because college classes are a lot different from high school and the schedule overall, and there are so many other things that you have to adjust to just besides the course load, like living on your own, the new food, the new environment, making friends. So I would say the first semester it's always better to give yourself time and space to adjust, and then second semester, if your freshman year, is a great time to really jump in. I think the biggest major takeaway is that you really do have to put yourself out of the comfort zone. That's not always the most fun thing to do, because then you're opening yourself up to rejection or, failing at something that you really want to try. But ultimately, you start small, you join initially and you check it out. And then as you go on and as you get more experience, then you can move up and, take bigger roles and bigger leadership opportunities and things that you like.
Okay, so top 3 takeaways from my interview with Ramya. Number 1, keep your eyes open at the beginning of the semester for events like Calapalooza, which gives you the opportunity to meet with student representatives from various groups on campus. Also be prepared to seek out opportunities and approach student groups yourself that you may be interested in joining. Number 2, involvement in one opportunity often opens doors to more opportunities to get involved on campus. So a lot of times it's just that first step. And number 3, expect to go through a period of adjustment when you first arrive. So still remain open to joining different groups and opportunities, but also be careful not to overload yourself as well.